His life represented the courage, creativity, and patriotism of the young generation of Bangladesh. I remember him today with deep love, pain, and pride. Ladies and gentlemen, for the last 2 years, I watched my beloved Bangladesh suffer. Fear has entered homes, workplaces, and campuses. This is not the Bangladesh we built. This is not the Bangladesh for which 3 million people sacrificed their lives in 1971. Let me begin with the truth about July and August 2024. It was not a peaceful student movement. From the beginning, my government tried to resolve the issue peacefully through dialogue, legal process, and patience. But behind the language of reform, organized groups were working to turn students' demand into violent political instrument. In 2018, responding to student demands, we abolished the quota system. In 2024, when the High Court annulled the decision, the government appealed because we wanted to uphold the abolition. I personally took the initiative for dialogue with the students and invited them to Ganabhavan, the Prime Minister's residence. Three ministers also held discussions with them. A quota reform movement was turned into a one-point demand for my resignation. False propaganda was spread in a planned way. Genuine students were emotionally manipulated, while organized groups used their movement as cover for violence and regime change. Muhammad Yunus himself said this was a meticulously designed movement led by a mastermind. His own words expose the truth. It was not simply a spontaneous student protest. There was no visible or responsible leadership. Instructions were given invisibly. It was organized, directed, and used to create a path to power outside the ballot box. From July 15th, the character of the movement changed. Killings, arson, attacks, and looting began. State property was destroyed. Bangladesh television was attacked and set on fire. So was different buildings like Shetu Bhavan, the Directorate General of Health Services, the EPI vaccination program building, Farmgate Metro Rail Station, flyover, Mohakali Elevator Expressway, science research facilities, the Disaster Management Office, a national database center, a COVID-19 special hospital, Bangladesh Medical University, residential hotels, industrial facilities, businesses, prisons, and including Noshingdi and other district jails were attacked, vandalized, or burned. All the terrorists, criminals were released. Awami League offices were vandalized across the country. Leaders and workers were attacked and killed. Homes of ministers and senior figures associated with my government were looted and burned. The media was also targeted. Nearly 50 media centers Private television stations and newspaper offices were attacked or set on fire. Journalists were killed. Law enforcement agencies came under organized attack. Police, sepai, the other officers were killed and their bodies were hung from flyover. Around 460 police stations were outposted or set on fire, and in some, personnel were trapped inside buildings and burnt alive. Weapons were looted. Officers were beaten to death. According to persecuted police members, at least 3,000 personnel were killed, attacked, tortured, or subjected to serious violence. So, I ask a simple question. In such a situation, what is the duty of law enforcement? When police stations are burned, government buildings are attacked, public infrastructure is destroyed, officers are killed, and weapons are looted, does the state have no duty to protect life and property? In every country, law enforcement has a responsibility to protect citizens, state institutions, and their own lives. This is not a crime. That is the duty entrusted to them by law. At the same time, I wanted the truth to be known. That is why I formed a judicial inquiry commission on 18th July 2024. Its purpose was clear. Every casualty had to be investigated. Every incident of violence had to be examined, and every family deserved to know the truth. I met victims' families, visited the injured, and instructed the authorities to provide the highest level of medical treatment free of cost. And on 1st August, I strengthened the inquiry into a three-member commission so that the investigation would be credible and comprehensive. But after seizing power, the illegal interim government led by Muhammad Yunus stopped the investigation. They did not allow the truth to come out. They gave indemnity to those who involved in the killings. If they truly wanted justice, why did they stop the inquiry? If they had nothing to hide, why protect the killers? That one decision tells the truth. They did not want justice, they wanted power. They did not want investigation, they wanted the evidences buried. Their own words export the truth. An NCP leader said revolution would not have succeeded if police had not been killed and the metro rail had not been set on fire. A BNP leader in Sirazganj also said publicly that Enayatpur police station was burned and police were killed to make the revolution succeed. These statements show that the July August movement was not merely a quota reform movement, it became a coordinated assault on constitutional order driven by hidden instruction, organized violence, and propaganda. The conspiracy did not end on 5th August. After 5th August, violence became a campaign of political persecution. The killing that began on 16 July with the murder of Shobujali, a Dhaka college student, and student league activists has not stopped. Awami League leaders and workers are being killed, disappeared, arrested, driven from their homes, and buried under false cases. At least 10,000 have been killed or disappeared. Around 650,000 have been arrested over the last 2 years. Around 3,500 cases have been filed. Namely, nearly 450,000 leaders, workers, and supporters are accused. More than 1 million others have been listed as unnamed accused. Against me, more than 600 cases has been filed. Women activists of Satru League, student organization, youth league, other affiliated organizations are facing abuse, humiliation, torture in custody. Many leaders and workers have also died in prison amid documented accounts of torture, denial of medical treatment, deprivation of food, negligence, and denial of basic rights. The persecution is not limited to the Awami League members of only. The member of minority community, judges, lawyers, intellectuals, cultural figures, journalists, professionals, workers, even rickshaw pullers, farmers, ordinary citizens have been attacked, arrested, or accused in murder cases. No one who stands for the spirit of the liberation war is safe. Symbols and memorials of our liberation war have been destroyed. Freedom fighters have been humiliated with garland of shoes. The historic residence of Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, the Bangabandhu Memorial Museum at Dhanmondi 32 has been attacked and demolished in phases. This is not random violence. This is an attempt to erase the spirit of the liberation war from Bangladesh. Muhammad Yunus himself spoke of pressing a reset button to whip away the country's previous history. They want to erase the liberation war, they want to erase Bangabandhu, they want to rewrite Bangladesh against the foundation on which it was born. Convicted war criminals have been released, militants and top terrorists have been freed. Even after a state election brought the BNP to power, the situation did not change. Bangladesh remains a grip of fear, terror, repression, economic hardship, and deep insecurity. Now, look at the condition of the country. The progress we built has been destroyed, and ordinary people are paying the price. GDP growth has fallen to 2.22% compared with 6.80% during the Awami League government. Industrial production has fallen sharply. For the first time in 54 years, the industrial sector has faced negative growth. Defaulted loan in the banking sector have reportedly risen from 13% to 47%. Poverty has increased from 18.60% to 46.8%. Investment has turned negative. Job creation has collapsed. More than 2 crore people have newly fallen into unemployment. Over 500 industrial factories have closed. More than half of industrialists and business owners are either in prison or forced into hiding. The government is running by borrowing 700 to 900 crore taka from banks every day. Project cost have been increased by 50% to 250%. At the same time, militancy is rising. Women and children are facing torture, rape, humiliation. And ordinary people no longer feel secure in their own lives. Extortion, murder, kidnapping have become regular features of daily life. These are not just numbers or isolated incidents. Behind them, there is a family, a worker, a farmer, a small business owner, a mother who cannot buy food for her children, and a young person who no longer see hope. But let me also remind you what Bangladesh had achieved. The welfare of the people has always been the purpose of my deep politics. My father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, gave his life for the ideal, and I have carried the ideal with full commitment. During my 5 terms as a Prime Minister, we used long term planning, sound financial management, disciplined implementation to place Bangladesh on a strong foundation. After 2008, across 16 years and 4 consecutive terms, we implemented major projects such as Padma Bridge, Metro Rail, Rupur Nuclear Power Plant, Matarbari Deep Sea Port, Kandapuli Tunnel, Bangabandhu Satellite. We maintained GDP growth between 6.5% to 7.5%. Our development projects were not vanity projects. They were part of building national capacity. Our social programs were not charity, they were investments in human dignity. We made Bangladesh stand tall. We made it known as the rising tiger of Asia. Bangladesh's crisis is not only a domestic crisis, it affects regional peace, security, trade, development, and human dignity. That is why I call upon the international community and all the friends of Bangladesh to stand with the people of Bangladesh in their struggle for democracy, justice, and peace. A stable Bangladesh matters for South Asia, for the Bay of Bengal, for development partners, and for all countries that believe in democracy, rule of law, and justice. The next decade can be a decade of recovery and renewal, but only if democracy is restored and the people are allowed to decide their own future. That is why I make these demands clearly. The ban on the Awami League must be lifted, political prisoners must be released, false cases must be dropped, freedom of speech must be restored, media freedom must be protected, judicial independence must be guaranteed. Law enforcement agencies must serve the people, not those who use power for revenge. These are not demands for one party only. There is necessary steps to save Bangladesh. Whatever fate awaits me, I will return to my people. I cannot stay away while my beloved countrymen are suffering. I know I may be detained, I may be sent to prison, they may try to enforce verdicts issued in fabricated cases, but fear cannot decide my duty to the people. My life moved beyond calculations of personal safety long ago. In 1971, I was in imprisonment with my mother. My son, Joy, was born in captivity. In 1975, I lost my family. I spent 6 years in exile. After returning home, I fought against military ruler, dictatorship, and political conspiracies. There were 19 assassination attempts against me. Even the grenade attack of 21st August 2004 could not stop me. Therefore, I am not worried about my own future. I am worried about the future of Bangladesh. I want to return because the people deserve security, development, prosperity, and peace. They deserve a state that protects them, an economy that gives them opportunity, and a democracy that gives them rights. My return and the return of the family to the democratic process is not about power. It is about putting Bangladesh back to the right track. It is about reviving the country's path of development, progress, secularism, stability. I want to return to Bangladesh to one purpose, to stand beside the people and help improve their lives. The people are the source of all power. I believe in them, I trust them, I love them, and I will return to them. Joy Bangla, Joy Bangabandhu. Thank you very much for listening me and giving me so much time. Thank you.
For side input, and I would request you please to take a couple of questions from our colleagues before you go, and then we can direct the question to some other people. Venkat, please. I'll give. Just give me Venkat. Wait for the mic, and we'll give priority to our members. Then I'll give you. Just let me just. Thank you.
Is it on? Can you hear me? Okay. Madam Sheikh Hasina, have you decided on the date on which you're going to go back to your country? Because the present regime says the moment you arrive in Dhaka, they're going to arrest you. What are your plans if they arrest you? Have you put together any team of lawyers to defend you in a court of law? What are your plans?